Can't believe I'm spending another weekend on this stupid Blazer. So I just spent way too much time with the grease gun under the car. I re-greased everything that just needs to be done, every oil change supposedly, but it's been at least a year. That is the ball joints, tie rod ends, pitman arm, whatever, all that crap. And then I also greased all the U-joints. So that part is all done, and I just got in my vacuum switch. So I'm going to install this and see if the front axle locks up. One little hint when you install this, something I didn't realize before. And there's no traffic until I turn this camera on. So I wasn't paying any attention which way I hooked the hoses up. I figured it's a switch, on, off, vacuum, no vacuum, so it doesn't matter, right? No, it actually does. If you blow into the bottom one, nothing happens. If you blow into the top one here, you'll hear air come out. That is because this one, when it's not triggered, goes to vent. You want the vent to be on the diaphragm so that it releases. You do not want the vent to be on the engine side, because then whenever you're in two-wheel drive, you have a vacuum leak. So make sure you hook it up right. I wasn't paying any attention for a while, so that wouldn't have stopped the four-wheel drive from engaging, but it would have given me a vacuum leak and would have made the car run kind of crappy. And it certainly doesn't need any help to run crappy because of all the problems I found. But I'm gonna hook this up, start it up, push the button, see if that front wheel locks, and if it does, I don't know of any other problems that could possibly be in this four-wheel drive system, but we're gonna take it for a ride and see how it does. Finally. All right, so exactly what I expected to happen. When I pushed the four-wheel drive button, it engaged the front locker. When I push the 4 high button, it blinks a few times and then it goes back to 2 high. As soon as it did that, the wheel unlocked again, which means it is actuating and it is deactivating, unactuating, doing the opposite of that when it's supposed to. So basically every system I can check has been checked. I think it's time to take it for a drive. All right, so I just drove, a few miles around town and I just got back to the house. And as you can see, I still have service four-wheel drive and it still says 2 high. I'm in neutral right now. And that's what putting in 4 high does. It's thinking real hard about this auto. Hey, it stayed in auto. That is the first time it's ever done that. Well, I got a slight wind logged. Hey, what's up? I'm doing something a little different today. So you heard me complain a few videos back about how I hate the ZR2 sag. Now I think all the Blazers are sagging some, but after doing some reading, I think I figured out why the ZR2s are especially bad for sagging in the back. Part of it's just time. They're all gonna sag a little bit, just springs wear out. Car's 24 years old now. The other problem is the ZR2s have a softer spring, and that apparently has something to do with the off-road part of it. I'm not an off-roader, so I don't know anything about this, but apparently you want the softer spring so when you go over things, it's easier to articulate. Makes sense. So it looks like most of the options for Blazers for rear leaf springs are 13 or 1400, I don't remember, but these are 1100. So it makes them harder to buy to replace them, but also they're softer. The other thing I've seen people say, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but it makes sense, but that big heavy spare tire hanging way off the back is adding a bunch of extra weight that isn't on the other ones, causing it to wear out faster. And that makes sense. The farther out you put weight, the more it acts on the springs. So I was thinking of ordering springs, and it looks like the ZR2 ones are different, so I'd like to keep them original. The only place I could find that actually specified these are for the ZR2, they were out of stock. I decided to try something today, a real cheap workaround, and that is some lift shackles. Now these should pop in real easily. Should just be 4 bolts in and out, and you're done. I was surprised at how affordable these were. I picked these up off eBay. They were about 20 bucks shipped. And I figured for that price, they're gonna be really flimsy. But they showed up and they're really heavy duty. I'm impressed. I couldn't make these for $20 if I just bought the metal. I'm gonna put them on and I'm gonna see if it raises the back end up level. I still don't have the transfer case working. I'm leaning towards it being the shift encoder motor thingy. And you know, it wouldn't seem unlikely that I bought a used transfer case from a vehicle that was wrecked and that was bad. It also probably didn't help that it fell and dropped onto the floor while I was trying to install it. So I have a friend who works at a body shop that has a good scanner that can get into the transfer case module brain and then hopefully tell me what the problem is. So I'm just gonna roll with it in two-wheel drive for a little longer until I get a chance to stop in there and have him scan it. But right now I'm just gonna go on time lapse and see how quick I can do this. Well, this has been awful. I have been at it for over an hour. I got all 4 nuts off within, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. They were really stuck on there, but I got them. Now I'm just trying to push these bolts through. I ended up cutting the hangers because they were, I don't know if you can tell from what's here, but there were rust holes in them. So either way, those are not gonna go back on. So I just cut them out of the way, and I'm just sitting here trying to pry the bolt out of the eyelet, and it's just rusted stuck. So then I thought if I heated it up, maybe it would melt from the rubber a little bit and I could just slide it out. But there's no way to pull it really. I can't get a good grab on it. And that's the easy one. The hard one is up there. For hours, I don't have a single bolt out. Putting it back together is gonna be simple. And if you live in the Rust Belt, this is what you're up against. Well, I just got the first one out. I had to get it really hot and just pull it out of the rubber. So that sleeve is completely rusted and fused to the bolt. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it out, but I'm gonna have to try over on the press. Man, I regret biting this off today. I've been at this for hours and I just got the last bolt out, but they are all completely seized on the spacer things that go through the bushings. So I'm gonna go over to the press, see if I can press it out. I started on this one and it was coming, but I was taxing my 20-pound press. So if you ever do this and these bolts aren't budging, I just heated the hell out of them with a torch, started turning them with the ratchet so that they got loosened up, and then was able to take a pry bar and just slowly slide them out. Well, they're on. It's not perfect. So what I had to do was the sleeves that go through the middle of the bushing, the 2 in the leaf spring I could get through. The 2 up top wouldn't go in. I think the rubber just melted so bad that it was all misshapen, and I just tried putting the bolt through. I will get back up out there and fix it, but I need to use this truck tomorrow and it's already like 5 o'clock, so I need to wrap this up and make it drivable by tomorrow morning. Well, I think that fixed it. I already jumped on the bumper a few times. I think it's still maybe a little lower than the front, but it's so much better. Definitely worth 20 bucks. Was it worth the 4 hours I spent on it? I don't know. It would have been a lot easier to do the day I had the gas tank out to replace the rusted fuel line. The gas tank is just really in the way under there, but not too bad. I am out of time, so I'm gonna cut this one here. See you in the next clip. All right, let's wrap this video up. Once again, this video has been going for like a month of weekends. So I decided, rather than wait to get to my friend's shop to check the transfer case module, I'm going to just replace the encoder motor, remembering that I did drop it on the ground. So I got on Rock Auto and ordered one, like Wednesday, I think. And by default, they wanted to charge me, 10 or 11 bucks to get it at the beginning of next week. But I was like, I'll save a few dollars, just send it USPS. I don't care if I get it later in the week because I can't do any work till the weekend anyway. And it just showed up 2 days and I paid for the cheapest shipping. So thank you, USPS. So I got this Dorman. Didn't seem like a place I wanted to cheap out and get a crappy part because it's going to be a pain to replace. I'm hoping I can do it without removing the front drive shaft. If you remember, to get the front drive shaft out, you have to drop the exhaust because it just you unhook it and just goes clunk onto the Y pipe and that's it. You can't go any direction, it just stops. So I'm going to get under there, see if I can get the bolts out. If I remember last time, you'd unscrew one of the bolts and it would just slide out and hit. So I'm going to give it a shot. Okay, so we're under the car. I'm not sure how well you can see anything. Here's the encoder. This bolt is out. There's one up here. I don't know if you can see it, but no, of course not. It's out. So this bolt here, it's hitting the drive shaft. And I tried pushing this up as much as I can to get a little bit of room, and I can't get enough room. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this bolt off. You can see some of the thread, and then I should be able to unscrew what's left because there's still about a 1/2 inch of bolt in here. And then I'm going to replace that with a shorter bolt or a stud and a nut. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do everything I can to avoid taking out this front drive shaft. Okay, I finally got this out. It took like 2 hours. So what I had to do was cut this bolt here and here. So then the head would fall off and that little slug would fall out. But then I also just had to destroy it to get it out. I broke off the encoder. So this is the encoder here. This turns and tells it where it is and its travel. Not sure why it needs 6 pins for that, but that's what it's doing. But look at this. This is real rough looking. So I'm hopeful that that was my problem. It sure seems plausible. Problem is, I will not be able to get the new one in, I don't think, without taking this off. That is held on right here. But we'll see. I'd rather take this off than the exhaust. All right, I got it in. It is possible to do without removing the front drive shaft, but you have to remove that little encoder off the back. The hardest part was that mine was not in neutral, and you're supposed to put it in neutral before installing it, but I don't understand what they want you to do. If it's being replaced, it's probably broken, therefore it won't shift, and the odds that it got stuck in neutral are pretty low. But I just had to get in there with the wrench and just turn it to the right position, and now I'm mounted up. The encoder's on, everything's done except this one bolt, and as you can see, it's pretty solid without that. I can't get it to budge at all, so I think it's going to be okay. I am going to come up with some solution to get a bolt or a stud or something in there. I'm going to think about it, try to do it tomorrow, but time being, I want to see if this thing works. It's all plugged in, and we could definitely tell that the old one was bad, so let's see. All right, let's see what lights I get. Still have service 4-wheel drive and 2 high. Okay, we're in neutral. The light just went out. So as soon as I put it in neutral, the 2 high light turned off. So now we might be in that scenario where the gear it is in is different than the gear it thinks it's in. So the computer just gave up and I might have to disconnect the battery to let it reset. I'm gonna try starting it again and see if any lights come back on. Oh, duh, I'm in park. Turned off again. Now I'm just sitting in the car with the battery unhooked. What it's doing right now is it's only going into 4 low, so it says, but it's in neutral. So I found myself kind of stuck here in the driveway where I shut it off and put it in park, and I couldn't get out of my car because it just wanted to roll backwards even in park because the transfer case is in neutral, but it thinks it's in 4 low. So I'm hoping everything's just confused. I put on the parking brake and it actually worked. That's the first time I've tried to use it, so not so stupid now for putting in parking brakes on an automatic, am I? So I've got the wheels chalked now. I'm just gonna let this sit for a little while and come back out after it's had some time to think about what it's done. All right, I left the battery unhooked for about 10 minutes, came back out, hooked it up, started the truck, and it says I'm in neutral. So, put it in neutral here. God damn it. What is your problem? Still in neutral. All right, so it's back to this now. It thinks it's in 4 low and it's actually neutral. I'll unhook the battery again, see if I can wake it up. Okay, I unhooked the battery again, started it again, and now it says I'm in 2 high, and it is moving. So that's good, at least I'm not stuck in neutral now. So now I'm gonna try 4 high. That is definitely, oh, duh. I was still in neutral. Okay. I don't know if I'm in 4 high, but it's moving forward again. 4 low, here's the test. No, it doesn't like going into 4 low. Ooh. I heard a clunk and it went. I might be in 4 low. I don't know how to tell. Holy shit, it's working. Well, it's working. It took me 3 years and replacing everything. It's still a little weird and clunky, and then I'm not sure if that's normal, but I'm gonna try to get a bolt put into that open hole tomorrow, and I think it's working. I'm gonna cut this one off, and in the next video, hopefully, we'll be getting tires and a windshield. So we will see you in the next one, whenever that may be.